Who is excited to learn about a new peptide tonight? I'm really digging doing this series and putting them together and getting feedback from you guys about what it is that you want to learn about. And then also, hearing that you've learned things that you had no idea were possible with certain peptides and that you just didn't know, period, because other people hadn't talked about them. So, welcome back to another Monday Night Live with Coach Michelle. Do the peptide series. I have a question before we start. So, I'm honestly, it's kind of ironic that we're doing this class tonight because my intro was, do you ever feel like your energy's like basically just kind of draining out faster than you can build it back up? Like your body's doing everything it's supposed to do, like you're doing all of the right things, but it seems like it's just kind of running on a low battery. That was honestly me a little bit today because of the fact that Creed decided at 1 o'clock this morning he needed to wake me up in order to go to the bathroom just because that's what he does. So, but the ironic part of that is I get up, I let him out, and guess what? I am right back to sleep as soon as my head hits the pillow, which never happened before. And if you are a perimenopausal or menopausal woman, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So, today we are diving into NAD plus, and this is one that I had a huge response that people wanted to learn about this. I chose to do BPC 157 last week, but had to do NAD plus today because this is one of the most important molecules in the entire human body when it comes to energy, longevity, cellular repair, and overall metabolic function. Again, I'll share my personal experience with the NAD Plus because it has helped me significantly, and it's noticeably improved my sleep quality, even when a dog wakes you up at 1 o'clock in the morning. So again, my disclaimer, this masterclass is for educational purposes only. This is not medical advice. I am not a medical professional directing you to do anything to use this particular peptide or offering any dosing suggestions. So I've got a lot of big words tonight, so I do have notes that I'm going to be reading so that I make sure I don't screw them up. And number one is, what the heck is NAD plus? Well, NAD plus, NAD stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Woo! I nailed it, right? It is a coenzyme that is located in every single cell in our bodies. And it's essential for ATP production, which is basically our source of energy within the cells, right? ATP, you read about that, you learned about that in biology class back in high school. And what NAD plus plays a major role in is our cellular health and energy, DNA repair, mitochondrial function, and also overall metabolic health. When NAD plus drops, you absolutely feel it. It's fatigue. It is our slowing metabolism. It is poor recovery. It is brain fog and also disrupted sleep. So now we see why NAD is such a big deal, right? Because it's just something that when we all feel off and we feel off for an extended period of time, it's a really good probability it's because your NAD has dropped significantly. So why does it do that? Why does it drop? Why do we all experience declines in NAD in our bodies? Well, number one is aging, the natural aging process. We all seem to kind of slow down and get forgetful and have all of these other things happen as we age, right? Hmm. High stress. See, stress is not good for you, right? Poor sleep can cause drops in NAD. Excessive inflammation in our bodies can cause it to drop. Overtraining, alcohol consumption, metabolic disorders, and all of the above. How many people do you know that do actually experience a majority or do a majority of those things personally, right, with their bodies? So signs of low NAD are low energy, poor sleep, irony, right? Slower recovery, brain fog, and again, feeling older, just feeling, oh, I'm feeling my age. Oh, you're over 50. Oh, I'm definitely feeling over 50. Not necessarily how it has to be. So what does NAD plus do, and how does it work within our body? Well, I'm going to try really hard not to get too sciencey in this because it's really easy to get really sciencey with these particular peptides, but I want you guys to be able to understand it. So NAD plus is required for our mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, right, to make that ATP, which is our energy that's stored in our body. It's required to repair DNA, for DNA, sorry, to repair our enzymes. We need it for sirtuins, for longevity proteins, detoxification, and cellular repair. That's the big thing that's promoted with NAD. If you end up seeing these ads, either on social media, in emails, on websites, so on and so forth, is, oh, you need this NAD to help you with cellular repair because it is vital to it. And then also metabolic stability. So think of it like NAD is the fuel and the electrician for your cells. It gives you the energy, but it also keeps the wiring in our cells in good condition. So it's multifaceted. It has many jobs within our bodies. I'm going to take a drink. Sorry, guys. I'm very parched. So somebody wanted me specifically to address NAD and heart health because this is something that her husband was recommended by a cardiologist to implement into his regimen because of issues he's having with his heart, including AFib. So, obviously we've got NAD repairing our cells to help keep things functioning as they should be. It's helping us to keep our energy going. Some people swear by it as far as like an anti-aging type of a thing. I don't know how much I actually believe that. It's a possibility, but I don't want to say, oh yes, this is what it's all about, right? So I wanted to get into this. Sorry, guys. So yeah, everybody's going to end up with some sort of NAD declining in their bodies as we get older. And the reason we want to supplement it is because, again, all of the energy, DNA repair, and basically keeping us younger longer in our bodies as much as possible, keeping those cells rejuvenating and making sure that they stay as healthy for as long as possible. So while we've kind of talked about energy and recovery, another area that NAD is starting to get a lot of attention in is cardiac health. And I didn't realize how much it was starting to be researched until this friend asked me to cover it tonight. And I dove deep into research yesterday and I was blown away by what I found. So what is it that NAD plus does for the heart? Well, the heart is one of the most energy demanding organs that we have. That makes sense, right? And when NAD drops in the heart cells, just like if it drops in any of the other cells in our bodies, you can see lower ATP output. You can see higher oxidative stress and more vulnerability to arrhythmias and heart failure. This particular friend of mine, her husband's dealing with AFib, so I really wanted to look into the correlation between AFib and NAD research that's being done on that. In AFib, the irregular rhythm itself is going to cause additional stress to the cells, the heart cells. And it also increases DNA damage in atrial cells. So that activates an enzyme which burns through the NAD plus that's in the heart. Fascinating, right? Low NAD plus will make the heart cells weaker, and they are going to then be more prone to rhythm problems. Um, the biggest reasons, one of the biggest reasons why researchers are studying whether raising the NAD plus could help support cardiac rhythm is because, or this is one of the reasons, sorry, that they're doing it. And there's a specific trial called the HFAF energy trial. And that is testing whether the precursor for NAD plus, which is nicotinamide riboside, or NR, so if you see NR, if it can help to reduce AFib burden in our hearts, if it will improve cardiac mitochondrial function, and if it can support people who are dealing with heart failure and or atrial fibrillation or any other arrhythmias that they're dealing with. Specifically, this one is looking at AFib. It is early research, but it's showing that NAD plus metabolism in the heart is a serious therapeutic target. So I want you guys to understand, I'm not saying that NAD plus is going to treat AFib or any other sort of arrhythmia. That is obviously not within my scope. I am not a cardiologist or any sort of an expert like that. And that is not what the research is claiming yet. But what they have released at this point is that the heart heavily relies upon NAD plus for the energy. AFib is going to deplete NAD plus in our heart. Restoring NAD is something that cardiologists and the researchers are now studying to see if it's going to help these particular symptoms. And it's definitely something to explore with a provider. If you know somebody who has AFib or any other cardiac challenges, have your doctor look into it. Have your doctor do the research, and the two of you can come up with a plan to see if maybe this is worth checking out. Is this potentially going to be beneficial to me to help heal those heart cells that are being damaged by the arrhythmias and maybe alleviate some of the symptoms? You know, it's just, I want you guys to understand this reinforces something huge. Supporting our mitochondria. It's not just about looking better or slowing our aging, right? It's also about protecting our heart and various other organs within our bodies. That was one specific organ somebody asked me to look into and to research. And I don't have enough time to probably go through how NAD plus could potentially benefit other organs in our bodies. But if you need me to do that research, I can do that research. I've got access. So for me, the reason that I introduced NAD plus into my regimen is because of fatigue that I was experiencing. You know, I had a very, very busy July and August, an exhausting July and August. My husband was gone for 6 weeks on the East Coast for training. I was working, I was doing my coaching business, I was doing classes on my peptide therapy certification, I was handling everything around the house, I was handling the animals. It was a lot. And so I was always exhausted. And it's the kind of exhaustion that you can still perform, but I just never felt like the sleep I was getting was restoring what I depleted the day before. And I didn't know if it was just, you know, is it because I'm so busy and I'm so exhausted and my brain's exhausted and my body's exhausted? My sleep was okay, but it definitely was not restorative. I would wake up feeling tired. I didn't feel like I, you know, had plugged in my charger to my cell phone, and it basically plugged it into my body. I felt like I was just barely hitting what I needed to be able to keep up with what I was doing. So when I started to use the NAD plus, I wasn't expecting any sort of dramatic change. I was just basically using the peptides to see what would it do to me, along with these other peptides that I was using for other purposes. But the shifts that I experienced were impossible to ignore. So during that period, I ended up, when I started utilizing the peptides in the beginning of August, I had steady energy all day long, which, I would fluctuate throughout the day. I definitely had a noticeable reduction in fatigue that I was experiencing. My sleep was deep. Like, I would be out. Normally, little noises and things like that will wake me up. They always have. That's how I've always been my entire life. And it didn't happen unless a dog is in my face, like breathing through his nose and, waking me up that way. Um, Fewer nighttime wake ups, which again, if you are a perimenopausal or menopausal woman, you know what I'm talking about. My workouts, I was able to recover better from them. I had better mental clarity throughout the day, which that can be also uh, a result of GLP-1s, microdosing GLP-1s, but it seemed to be even more with the NAD. And then again, additional inflammation that I was experiencing, I discussed it last week. I do all the right things with my diet. I drink the water, I eat the protein, I limit the carbohydrates, I eat very clean foods, but I still had inflammation that was going on. And this also seemed to help to kind of relax things and help to release additional inflammation that I was experiencing. Now, it wasn't me feeling restored and more awake and aware. It's not like I had drank a pot of coffee. It's not some sort of a stimulant or anything like that. It basically felt like the baseline of where I was supposed to be kind of went back to where it should have been, as opposed to me just constantly feeling drained even after I got a full night's sleep, or what I assumed was a full night's sleep. So there are various methods for you to be able to get the NAD plus support in your body. IV therapy is one of them, and I know that has become a very popular thing, not just the NAD, but IV therapy, period. And it's definitely the fastest method for the NAD to get into your system, because obviously it's going through your veins, it's going directly into your bloodstream. Um, but because of that, it can cause nausea. So, and it's usually utilized medically. Obviously you have to be able to do IVs on people. And so you're usually at some sort of a clinic or med spa to have that particular process done, is having the NAD plus put in through an IV. NAD plus injections, which is what I do and what a lot of people do, are great for a consistent energy. It's not just like wham, it hits you, and it's a more gradual type of a thing, and it's great for long-term use, because this is something that you can do on yourself at home, and definitely less intensive than an IV would be. Precursors, the NMN and NR, will help with it basically helps your body synthesize NAD plus. And that's a great resource for maintenance. So if you've done your NAD cycle, which, depending on the person, depending on the protocol that your doctor recommends for you, it can be 4 weeks, it can be 8 weeks, it can be 12 weeks. It just depends on you. So the precursors can help your body to synthesize the NAD, and then again keep you going in a maintenance period when you're cycling these things. Also, lifestyle habits. because not everybody wants to necessarily take something that they aren't 100% comfortable with. Okay, the first question I get from a lot of people is, how can I boost this naturally? I got that a lot about GLP-1s. I didn't really hear it about the BPC 157, but I'm getting asked it about NAD plus. So what are some lifestyle changes or habits that we can implement to help to preserve the NAD plus that we have in our bodies? Well, number one, good sleep. Good sleep matters, guys. Strength training, actual strength training, lifting weights, lifting heavy things, not doing chronic cardio. You want to be building muscle and activating the cells that are in your muscles to help with that NAD as well. Sauna, so whether you do infrared sauna or water sauna, steam saunas, whatever, and also cold therapy, cold plunges. That can help to boost NAD plus production or keep it from depleting too fast. Anti-inflammatory nutrition, eating a clean, whole foods, nutrient-dense diet, right? We want to keep as many anti-inflammatory ingredients out of our system as possible, because then we're just basically telling the NAD to go away if we're ingesting inflammatory things in our body. GLP-1 support for metabolic health. GLP-1s can actually help to boost or maintain, preserve NAD plus within our bodies, because as we are improving our metabolic health, utilizing the GLP-1s, it's helping to keep that NAD plus in our bodies as well. People aren't going to want to hear this, especially this time of year. Reduce your alcohol consumption or cut it out completely. We know alcohol is not a something that we should be doing on a regular basis. Consuming alcohol, it's poison. Our bodies treat it as poison, which is why we have the reactions that we do when we drink. So reducing alcohol 100% will help with that NAD plus in your body. It'll also help with the gut health, repairing our guts. Not necessarily to the point the BPC 157 and TB 500 do, but again, this is about restoring cells. It's about keeping our mitochondria functioning, keeping the energy going within our bodies. Anything that's involving our cells, it's going to benefit it. So obviously, if we have some issues in our guts, we have cells in our guts. We are cells, like it's our entire bodies. And I want you guys to remember, all these things I talk about as far as the amazing benefits of peptides. These peptides are amazing, incredible tools, but our lifestyle does determine how long our bodies are going to hold on to the NAD plus. So you can shoot yourself up with NAD if you want to, but if you're continuing to live a shitty lifestyle, how long is it going to last? You don't necessarily want to have to continue to use these things consistently. We want to be able to cycle them and not have to worry about always having to do something and giving yourself a shot, right? If we can hold on to our NAD without having to supplement the peptides, absolutely, that is what we want to do. So just kind of a refresher, what NAD can help with in our bodies. Our energy metabolism, we've talked about that a lot. Sleep quality, which was the only reason why I really started utilizing it myself, because then that also helped me with my energy, no more fatigue, and my brain fog. Brain fog and cognition are huge, because obviously our brain health is super important, but the depleted NAD in the cells can also cause those things to happen within our bodies. It's going to help with the DNA repair, which is super important. It's going to help our mitochondrial health. It's keeping that powerhouse going, right? It's going to help with inflammation. It's going to help with healthy aging. A lot of people are selling NAD as far as a longevity tool, the anti-aging peptide. and they're selling it in methods that aren't necessarily going to be super beneficial to you because, as we talked about last week, taking an oral supplement containing many of these peptides aside from BPC 157 are basically a waste of money because the enzymes in our stomach, the acids that we've got in there, they're going to destroy the peptides before it even gets a chance to do anything within our bodies. You're maybe getting 10% of what it is that you're consuming orally. So that's why IV and injection are the two best ways to use the NAD, utilize the NAD within your body. And then it's also going to help with recovery. So again, my biggest reason for starting this was because of the fatigue and the crappy quality sleep that I was getting. And that ripple effect of improving both of those aspects, it just changed everything. It just made things flow better within my body, we'll say. So I'm going to cover safety and guidance in every single one of these classes because, again, you guys are going to get bombarded with ads from random peptide companies. You do not know where those peptides are being sourced. You do not know where they're being shipped in from. You do not even know what they contain. So you have to make sure that you're looking for a pharmacy that has sourced these peptides responsibly. Work with a medical provider, work with a health coach or somebody who is certified in peptide therapy. Make sure that the dose that you are utilizing is what was prescribed to you by your practitioner. Not me, not some random person on the internet, what you and your doctor discuss for your goals. And also just keep in mind, not everybody is going to have the same response to peptides. Just like none of us are the same for any other purpose, not everybody is going to respond the same to whatever peptide it is that they decide to introduce into their regimen. So, you know, peptides, precursors, injections, IVs, none of it's going to replace the foundations. That's something I repeat, right? Because it's true. They're definitely going to amplify the results when the foundations are in place, but they are not going to replace those foundations that we have to keep our bodies and our minds as healthy as possible. So it's not a matter of, the more that we go into these, I don't want you to think, oh my God, I'm completely broken. Like, you're not. Your body just needs the right environment and sometimes the right signals because our signals have quieted down in our bodies. So NAD plus is one of the most powerful signals we have for energy recovery and cellular repair. And that's why it's become so very popular in the past 5 years and why everybody is promoting it and everybody is talking about it now. So I'm going to scroll through here. If you have questions about energy, fatigue, sleep, mitochondrial health, NAD, my experience on it, please put them in the comments here so that we can cover them. So many people on here. We have Karen, Larry's here, Nancy, hi, one of my favorite Canadians, eh? Love her. So Julie said all of these people are coming to mind that she knows who have heart problems. And it again, it's not to say that it's going to fix the issue, but it doesn't hurt to restore the NAD that we already have in the cells, specifically and especially in our cardiac cells. Oops. Larry, uh-oh, where'd it go? Uh-oh. Hello. Well, what the heck? I just lost all my comments, guys, sorry. Larry said, I heard you mention them in an earlier event. You found some NAD tablets, took them for about 3 months and saw a huge increase in energy. Awesome. His question is, should you cycle off and on NAD plus or keep it as a regular supplement? It's my feeling and my personal choice is to cycle peptides. I don't want to stay on them consistently. So I did my first cycle of certain peptides August, September, October. I've basically taken the month of November off, and I'm going to reintroduce one new peptide in the month of December because I want to be able to basically narrow down which peptide is doing what within my body, as opposed to, oh, I'm using all these different ones and so many of them have anti-inflammatory benefits. I want to basically narrow down and focus on which ones are helping what specific areas in my body. So I think cycling is better. It's going to be cheaper because you're not constantly paying for supplements or peptides every single month, and it just gives your body a little bit of a break so that it can remember how it's supposed to help the signaling kick back in to our bodies on its own, instead of having to, hey, come on, let's do this. And it'll just help you again to see which ones are doing what for you. That's my particular or personal opinion. And Larry said he's had, yeah, the similar results taking the NAD plus, as far as I'm assuming the fatigue and the better sleep. So, all right. Any other questions that I can potentially answer for you guys tonight? Hi there, Helen. Hi, Laura. I wish my Facebook would actually work properly with the comments over here, but it's not. So, okay. Any other questions, any comments, anything anybody wants to add with regards to the NAD plus? If you are watching this live, obviously you're on here. If you are watching the replay, please comment replay on either YouTube or Facebook. And again, if you have questions, put them in the comments so that I can address those in the comments back to you as well. And again, tell me what peptides you guys want to learn about, because I am doing this for all of you. I want you all to be able to have as much knowledge to make an educated decision if something is right for you or not. Oh, look, all my comments literally just popped up. That was crazy. Okay. Julie, I am not sure if this will help that the people who got the shot and are now having heart problems. Again, with the research that I read about on Sunday, it's specifically people who are dealing with arrhythmias. And again, I narrowed it down even more for AFib for this friend of mine whose husband was recommended supplementing the NAD plus by his cardiologist. So it's always worth having a conversation with your cardiologist and asking them, number one, have you seen this research? And number two, can you please look into it to see if something would potentially be beneficial for me? Don't ever be afraid to ask your doctor to do the research that they need to do to be able to help you live a better and healthier life. So, no problem, Julie. And thank you, Larry. I love filling you guys in on all this fun stuff. This is why I took these courses. This is why I got certified, just so that I can help you guys and just spread the good word about peptides and clean eating and movement and sleep and mindset. I am living my coaching dream right now, let me tell you. So, all right. Well, I hope this was helpful for many of you. Again, if you're watching the replay, comment replay in here. If there is a specific peptide you want me to look into, you want me to cover going in the future, this series is going to be my Monday nights training until I get tired of talking about peptides or you guys start giving me peptides to talk about. So I will go into some scheduling stuff in the future, but as for right now, every Monday night going forward is going to be part of the peptide series so that you guys can learn everything you want to learn about these various peptides. So I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your week. Happy Thanksgiving. If you are traveling, please be safe. And I will see everybody next Monday. Okay? See ya.